Thank you very much, Mark, for coming down. I think we could take a poll as to who's in favor of your cash bar idea. I think it would be successful. And thank you very much for your excellent stats and research. You've really gone above and beyond for your deputation.
And I'm cheaper than KPMG.
We'll have to rethink.
I don't hear you're hiring.
Next time. And so you're, have you talked to your neighbors or people in your community as to, are they receptive to a fee increase of some sort since we're below average?
I live in a mixed income neighborhood. I've got $750,000 houses next door to public housing. There are people on my street who can afford to pay. There are people on my street who can't afford to pay. I want to pay more. I want the average person to pay more. A free program is not a free program, despite every page of free in the city guide. If you're a non-resident, you pay $67 to attend a free program. If you're a non-resident, you pay $35 extra on top of a regular program fee. So there's a value to these programs. Let the people who want to take part in these programs pay a real value for them, and also let the people who are able to pay for these programs, if it sells out, add another program, make more revenue for that facility.
Thank you.
I saw Councillor Nunziata.
Yeah, just on that point. So I agree. If people can afford it, they can afford it. They're willing to pay more. But what about the people that can't afford to pay any fees? And so
I want those people to have programs, have vouchers, have subsidies, have an allowance for it, in the same way you offer rent subsidies, in the same way that the Government of Canada offers GST, HST tax credits. There are mechanisms. People in Ottawa, there are poor people in Ottawa. There are poor people in Mississauga who are still going to pools and going to programs.
No, they're only here.
We don't all need this kind of subsidy.
Okay, and you do realize, just one last question, you do realize that in some areas, because you don't have the community space, that the city has to go to the school board to offer the programs, and they have to pay a fee to the school board to use their facility.
Yeah, those shared use facilities, you're covering either capital costs or operating costs in those shared use facilities.
But there's a huge cost to that.
Exactly. I'm asking you to cover those costs through some of the people who take part in those programs.
Let's go to this side. Councillor Pasternak.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. On an annualized basis, the City of Toronto allows nonprofit groups to have thousands of hours of free time in our spaces, and many of those groups then charge for their programs. How do you feel about that kind of an arrangement?
If it's a true not-profit group and they're providing a service to the community, I support that. I don't want necessarily to be charging more to everybody. I want people who are taking these programs to pay what the rest of Ontario considers a reasonable value for those programs.
Mm-hmm. In the last few months, we've heard thousands of deputants say pretty well what you're saying, that we value our services and we're willing to pay more.
Then let us put our money where our mouth is.
Okay, thank you very much.
Councillor Vaughan.
One of the great concerns we all have with this is when a group of kids arrive at a swimming pool, and there are those whose parents can pay and those who can't. That kids from low-income families suddenly have to identify as poor, identify as needy, and have to show a special card to get in. How do you stop the stigmatization of low-income kids who are just trying to fit in?
I don't have an answer for that question. To be honest, let me finish. I don't have an answer for that question. But if it's a choice between my neighborhood not having a program for anybody or me paying more for a program, and my neighbors who can afford it paying more for a program, paying the same as other people in other parts of Ontario pay for a program, other municipalities have figured out how to do this.
Well, that's the question, because some of those other municipalities don't figure that out, and those kids fall by the wayside. And I think that what I'm hearing from you is how do we create a system that allows those that can to pay, and those that can't pay, and wouldn't the tax base be a fair way of apportioning that?
Yeah, the tax base would be a fair way of proportioning it, but it's the last We can't sit here and litigate the last election. There's 1,000 days until the next one. And you guys have to go through 3 cycles of budgets. 3 more years of budget cycles. So you need to find a way to work together and meet in the middle. Because scoring political points when war on children or war on cars, all it's doing is divisiveness. You've got 3 years, grow up and solve these problems.
Councillor Davis?
Thank you.
I'm over here.
Okay.
But an increase in property taxes could also address this, you'd agree?
Councillor,
No, sorry, I didn't
just
mind.
asking.
I'm a homeowner. I'm a car owner. I'd pay more in property taxes. I'd pay the $1.15 in the car tax. But I'm not going to be able to pay those things under the current administration. If I lose these programs now, no matter if he's the mayor next time, you're the mayor next time, or somebody over here is the mayor next time, these facilities don't reopen, these programs don't come back.
So I fully understand your position, and I appreciate you coming and presenting it today. Other municipalities, we don't know whether poor kids are getting into those programs. I don't think we have any information about that. There is no welcome policy, as I'm aware, but here, the welcome policy, you can get support if you're a single mother making $21,000. So only the very poor are able to get support, and that money is gone in 3 days this round. And we'd have to administer some system of determining eligibility, and that administration of that might cost more. So would you consider that maybe the most efficient way would be to raise the general tax levels while we work out if there's something other than the welcome policy that would allow people to
Councillor, your question is over a minute. Just ask the question instead of...
I'm trying to put it in a context.
The answer is yes. I've already answered that question. I think I should pay more property taxes. Yes, I would pay the vehicle registration tax. That's not going to happen under the current administration. It may, and, I'm writing my Dear Santa letter now. But in the meantime, let's deal with the realities we have at hand.
Poor kids won't get it
Okay,
in
Councillor,
under the
I just
welcome
finished
policy.
telling you. No, I don't want you to answer that because it doesn't matter how many times I say it, it goes in one ear and out the other ear. Okay, Councillor Mammoliti.
You're aware that most...
Okay, stop. Sir?
What is it, like a
Hold on, everybody.
concerted effort every time I talk? Does
Just
that get
hang on.
interrupted?
Wait. He's gone. Sir, you got to go.
How come all our best players are playing for the Americans and the money stays there? They should be...
Okay, time for a commercial break.
Recreational Center, YMCA, because that's their rising future superstar who's going to make the money for us. You guys are all garbage. Thank you.
Is there a reason every time I ask a question that something like this happens?
I don't know what you attract. I have no idea.
So,
Go.
Councillor Vaughan asked you a question about how people get in. We get in this way. People that are on our welcome policy are welcome through the office, and only the office knows their particular circumstances. Would you agree that everybody, whether they pay a user fee or whether or not they're on a welcome policy, would get in, perhaps in our community centres, with a card? And that would eliminate the stigma of somebody who's poor, wouldn't it?
Hopefully it would eliminate the stigma, but you know what? I volunteer with the homeless. I do out of the cold breakfasts. There are going to be people who are poor in our community. Is it more important to protect their feelings or protect their programs?
Okay. Most property taxpayers in this city do not use our community centers at all. Do you know that?
I can't question those stats, but I don't have them.
Councillors like Councillor Davis are asking them to continually raise their property taxes to pay for services that they don't use.
My house hasn't burned down this year, but I'm still paying for the fire department. We are a Commonwealth country.
Right.
There is a thing called a common good. I put things into the system I don't take out. All I am asking for is an opportunity to do that with the recreation programs at Fairmount before you close the facility or shut down those programs.
But you're advocating
Counselor,
higher
no,
user
same
fees
thing.
for our.
No,
I'm advocating.
Don't want you to answer. He's gone over his time as well too. Okay. Sorry, George.
You know, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to say point of order because you allowed Councillor Davis on a point of order. Councillor Davis has taken up a hell of a lot of time in this meeting, and you have not done what you're doing with me. I need to say that.
Okay.
I need to
Georgie,
say that.
I love you, but I got to keep the time the same for everybody. Okay. It's a minute. Well, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Councillor Bernard Nettie.
Berard Nettie. You should know that, Mike. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
All right.
Thank you for coming. And so obviously we're trying to think of these solutions, what you're saying. The majority of people can't afford to pay. So there's a small minority that are below poverty level and should be free or have a very small fee, or none. So if you can pay more, such as paying for a DVD at a library, that would subsidize more literacy programs for children or keep the hours open, would you be willing to pay that $2 fee for a video?
I don't have a library card. I don't use the library facilities. I do pay for them through my general property tax. I have no opinion at the moment on library services. All I'm concerned about right now is the services at Fairmount Community Centre.
And you'd be willing to pay more for those?
I'm willing to pay more to provide those services. I think I've made that abundantly clear.
Okay. And just last question, with the indulgence of the speaker, or of the chair, sorry.
No.
Just very quickly, if you would, there's a card.
Okay.
This,
I can't. My friend over there gets very upset. Okay? So we can't do that.
I'll ask you after.
So everybody's had their shot. Mr. Richardson, I want to thank you for being the first person that has brought forward some issues and has pointed out a number of things and your reasonableness. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
We stand adjourned till 1:30.
What's your name? Mark. You have a card or something?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to leave this here, okay?
Sure.
Thanks very much. I appreciate
Thank you.
that. And I understand. Warren the children was to get some attention here because there's a whole series of fees stacking up for kids.
No, I'm.
But your presentation has helped us bridge it to the middle and say, look, how do we raise revenue?
But it's not my job to bridge it to the middle.
I know it's not, but sometimes politicians are only moved by people.
I know.
I just want to thank you.
No problem. Thanks. Can I get your card?
Sure. Carry my card.
Okay, here. I'll give you mine. Send me an email.
Great.
Okay. Thanks, Adam.
My name is I work with the city too.
Sure.
And I appreciate the position. Okay.